on a slim margin. They're not like large farms that have insurance for the crops, insurance, the government to bail them out in case something goes wrong. So a lot of these farms actually end up experiencing financial losses, and sometimes. Where we come in at some of these things they can't afford, can't do, our program can help them out with that. And like I said, so since some of these people are new, they just lack the training, or they've been doing something the same way for 10 or 15 years. They just don't know how to get out of that. That's where we come in. That's where I come in. If they decide to be in this program, we're going to pretty much change up the things they've been doing, because either it's not helping them, it's hurting them, or it's just not what we want in this program, so we can get the data we need to collect out of it. So infrastructure and resources, this is a real big one. When it comes to infrastructure, fencing, that's going to be the major one. Most of these people have goats, not sheep. Only a few actually have sheep. If you know anything about goats, if that fence is not right, they're going where they want to go. You know, and of course Dr. Carpy knows. If it's not the right fence, if you don't get 4x4 squares, you coming by, you got a kid with his horn stuck in the fence, you gotta pull him out every now and then. If you don't follow pretty much what Dr. Carpy's written up on how we fence, the type of fence, 4x4 squares, 4 to 8 inches off the ground, 2 strands of barbed wire. If you don't do that, those goats are getting out. And if they overgraze, they're definitely getting out. They don't care. They're going over that fence. So fencing is one of the really, really big things we try to train them on. And it's also one of the most important things in the program that we provide assistance with. A lot of people's farm I show up to, they do not have adequate perimeter fencing. That's a problem. And I try to point them in the right direction and kind of teach them how to fix that, because mainly what we provide is going to be a cross fencing. So we can break down your field into these 1 acre plots and then start rotating you on those plots. As far as the resources go, believe it or not, a lot of people have trouble getting water to the animals. Like I say, I haven't been doing irrigation for the last 10 plus years. I can show up on the farm, help them pick out a water source, whether it be well, municipal, even a pond, whatever they want and whatever's going to be cheap for them and cost efficient. But this needs to be also sustainable. And that's something I've been trying to preach through this program. It's the water aspect of it needs to be sustainable. And then, and we do provide some materials for the farmers as far as like, if they have an existing source of water, we'll help you get that water to your animals. We'll help you with troughs. I will design a whole irrigation system that can support the whole farm, but we necessarily don't have the funding to do that in our program. But we will get water to your animals. And what I want to try to do is help a client pick a water source that's going to be environmentally conservative. That's what climate smart agriculture has a lot to do with. As far as the soil, what I'm trying to teach people is how to, and Dr. Carpy mentioned this, is how to build and maintain a living soil. At all times, you want something living in that soil. We don't want to go back to the old practices of totally turning the field over. All that does is lead to dead soil. That runs off your micro and your macroorganisms. We need something living in that soil at all times. So that's one of the big principles of the soil, is proper soil management. That also helps us mitigate our greenhouse gases and sequester that carbon. And keeping that living soil is always going to provide nutrients for that forage as well. And as far as the forage, what I've been trying to teach people at these farms, your forage is going to be dependent on the type of soil, climate, and area and region you live in. A lot of people just want millet because they want millet, but as you move around Alabama, we're going to give you the forage you need for this program to help us mitigate greenhouse gas and sequester carbon, but it's going to be tailored to your farm and to your area. That's what we're doing as far as the forage goes. And so each forage is going to be unique to each farm, and more or less. Especially like in West Alabama, a lot of people are going to end up with the same thing. North Alabama, that's going to be totally different. And then from South Alabama, where I'm from, that's going to be different. The equipment. So equipment-wise, this is another thing that I'm not having a problem with, but the farmers are. These no-tills like this, and this, especially this one on the stream, this is the smallest one we own. And nobody in the program has a tractor that can move that no-till drill. That's what you get from smaller farmers, you know? So what I'm having to do is find one that can operate, or find a tractor that can move it, or I may end up putting a 30-foot trailer to a lot of these farms and end up doing it for them or helping them, you know? So, and these new no-tills, a lot of these people have never even used these. So I'm having to train them on how to operate them. You can go in a book and look it up on how to do it, but if you ever operated equipment, you know that it kind of doesn't work like that. You know, your seed, your speed, what type of tractor you have, what type of forage you're actually putting down. How's the soil made up? Is it compacted? Is it sandy? Is it sandy loam? All these variables you have to take into account when you end up putting out that seed with that no-till. I don't know if you looked at the price of seed, but some of the seeds we've been looking at are close to, a lot of them are over $300 every 50 pounds. So it can't be wasted. You know, that's something real critical. So teach them how to use a no-till properly and efficiently. That's something I've been, you know, trying to do real hard. So
how big of a tractor do you pull out?
that one,
35.
no, you know, you can, on flat ground, you could probably get away with a 60 or 70, but that thing they recommend 90 and up. I mean, that's just to lift it and pull it. Now, if you start getting on slopes and stuff like that, you get 100 plus. You know, because you got to realize that's 3,000 pounds by the time you load the hopper. Yeah. So, yeah. And honestly, I just stopped seeing the small ones. I mean, I don't know what's happening to the small no-tills. I'm sure they still exist, but like I said, these new ones with the electronic agitator, electronic hopper, this is like one of the cheapest no-tills people are going to now.
What's happening is that people can't afford that and then have tractor that's close. So all the small ones get sold. They're not really putting out any new small.
Alright. Like I said, that's one of the smallest ones we actually own. But a lot of times we go with like a 12-foot, if not larger. Because you need to just go ahead and get done with it. And like I said, no-till helps us support climate smart ag through not disturbing the soil. So and that's really what we want to do. Let's see, through not disturbing the soil, we're going to help sequester that carbon and mitigate that greenhouse gas, retain water. And that's going to help us go forward with our climate smart ag. Also, not only can you do no-till, but you can do minimum till. And a lot of these people, they're not going to have a choice but to do minimum till. And a lot of times you actually end up getting a little bit better result out of minimum till, especially if you have really hard compacted ground. When you have hard compacted ground, that no-till will put the seed in the ground, but will it germinate, will it flourish, will you get root penetration in that compacted soil? I don't think so. So minimum till, you take a set of discs, you turn them straight, and you run it back and forth, back and forth. So you just cutting the ground, you're cutting those grooves, and you're not actually having to turn, you're not turning the soil over. You can come out, put your seed out, and then you have a better chance of germinating. And everybody has a disc, everybody has a spreader. So that's something they can do without having to rent something like this, or Lord forbid, trying to buy one or borrow one. You know, what I'm trying to do is go and rent these for people. And even now at this time of the season, it's going to be very difficult. Because farmers actually even rich farmers kind of don't have access to this. And it's cheaper just to rent a year in ahead than to try to, buy one or borrow one. So don't forget, minimum till, that can work for you. Yeah, and see another thing with that minimum till, that's something you can do on your own, and then you can time it right. You can use a no-till, but if it's not going to rain anytime soon, and you just kind of, guess at it, you're just going to end up wasting seed. Minimum till, that gives you time to, get out there, bust up that soil, sling it when it's about to rain, and then it'll actually germinate. So as far as sustainability Sustainability is one of the main objectives of climate smart ag. And what we want to do with these small ruminant farmers is make them more self-sufficient, lower the operating costs, as well as the greenhouse gas and carbon. And all this is possible through developing a sustainable forage, sustainable water resources, and eliminating dependency on synthetic fertilizer. Like I said, most people in the program already told me they wanted no synthetic fertilizer. All they wanted to do was adjust pH. All they wanted was lime. That synthetic fertilizer eventually is going to give you a dead soil. What it makes it was you have to put that input in every year, or like every couple of years, to have that nutrients in the soil to help the crops grow. Yeah, pretty much every year. And that's just unsustainable.